I think we settled in on a poll question. Would you rather have Tebow as your backup quarterback or Bill Parcells as your interim head coach? Let's bring in Mike Florio, the editor of ProFootballTalk.com. Let me start with the poll question. How would you answer?
Is there a none of the above?
You got to pick.
I would probably if you take Parcells as your interim head coach, that means you're the Saints, and that means you've got far bigger problems than Tim Tebow. So give me Tebow. Final answer.
Do you think this Tebow, or I should say Parcells story, has some legs?
I don't know, because Parcells has every reason under the sun to get the word out there that the Saints are interested, because Parcells is now relevant again, and we're all talking about him. And I think that's just human nature to want that out there. And I also think that it's human nature for Sean Payton to prefer somebody who would come in clearly as a one-shot deal. Parcells in for 2012. As soon as the season ends, Payton's back in. If you promote an interim head coach, you're from within the organization, you're potentially risking the Kurt Warner factor, where Kurt Warner comes in, wins a Super Bowl for the Rams, no one expected it, and then who's Trent Green? That could happen in New Orleans if Pete Carmichael Jr. takes over, leads the team through this minefield, wins a Super Bowl. Who's Sean Payton come 2013? And I think anybody would naturally have to be concerned about having that one-year replacement turn into a permanent replacement.
And Sean Payton has said that he was honest with the commissioner in the 2 trips to New York, and he will be back in 2013. I would be very, very leery, if I'm the Saints, of pushing this appeal. I think you want an audience with the commissioner to maybe say, all right, you've had time to simmer on this, read everything, hear from other people. Can we reduce this a little bit? But it seems like the commissioner doesn't want to open this up to let everybody see the laundry.
Yeah, I think that's right. And any appeal would happen quietly and privately, but there's a disconnect here between Sean Payton saying he hasn't lied, he's been truthful, and Goodell saying yesterday at his press conference that the lying has continued up until the past several weeks. And I think that both sides are probably at a position where the best thing to say is nothing at all, and just move forward and try to begin the process of putting this behind everyone.
He's Mike Florio from ProFootballTalk.com. Tim Tebow yesterday, with a smile, he can basically go 30 minutes and not say too much to you, but do it in such a polite way that you really feel like you got something from him. He dodged the questions, including Jacksonville. Give me why he did not want to go to Jacksonville.
I believe, Dan, that he saw the Jets organization, front office and coaching staff, as a team that wants him. And he's just suffered through not being wanted by the people who run the football operation in Denver. He wanted to go to a place where he was wanted. In Jacksonville, they had to get general manager Gene Smith on board with owner Shad Khan to even make the attempt to get Tim Tebow. And I think that Tebow looks at it this way, and I think it's a good long-term career plan for Tebow. Go to New York, ride that out, see what happens. And if they change regimes at some point, if Rex Ryan and Mike Tannenbaum can't get it done, they bring in a new head coach, new GM who don't believe in Tim Tebow, and most don't, the owner of the Jaguars is still going to want him. He can always go to Jacksonville. And if I had to guess right now, I'd say at some point the road is going to take Tim Tebow back to his hometown of Jacksonville, where the owner, as long as Khan owns that team, he's going to want Tim Tebow, and then that'll be the next stop for Tebow on his career.
How much of this is Tim Tebow, the phenomenon where your mom or your daughters or your girlfriends or your grandmother, everybody has an opinion about Tim Tebow, but this is really about football. Well, how much is this about football for Tebow himself? And how much of this is, I'm in New York, I get to spread my word. I get to do a lot more things here than I would if I was in Jacksonville or wherever else.
I'd say for everybody else, it's 80-20, the off-field stuff. But I'd say for Tebow, it's probably the other way around. He sees an opportunity to make meaningful contributions on the field. He sees what's going on with Mark Sanchez. They don't believe in him. They wouldn't have gone after Peyton Manning if they did. They wouldn't have gone after Tim Tebow if they did. If you've got a franchise quarterback, Dan, you never take him off the field. Not even for one wildcat play.
But why extend his? Can't I just say, Mark, you're our quarterback? Do I have to give him $21 million guaranteed?
Here's why they did it. They bought his cooperation in advance. They still got him for 2 more years. They were going to pay him $17 million anyway the next 2 years.
Okay.
They guarantee that amount. They throw an extra couple million on there. They have Tim Tebow's contract for 3 more years, which is very reasonable in the grand scheme of things. This is something they can point to. If Sanchez tries to act up, it's like, look, Mark, we gave you $20 million guaranteed. Just shut up and go along with this, please, because that's what they need to have. If they're going to use Tebow up to 20 snaps a game, that's what Ryan said, you need to have Mark Sanchez buy in and be quiet about it.
I mentioned this yesterday about the Dodgers sale, and the conspiracy theorist in me says, let's say Stan Kroenke, who owns a few professional sports teams, including the Rams, and he's in the final three, would get the Dodgers. The possibility of relocating his Rams to Los Angeles as sort of a package deal and somehow include Frank McCourt in this, since he will still own the parking lots at Dodger Stadium. What do you see with this? How did the league react to that possibility?
The league had not said much of anything back when Kroenke was one of 10 or 11. In fact, I sent some questions in, and they said they don't want to speculate. Well, now that it's getting closer to Kroenke actually winning the Dodgers, the league is ready to study whether or not its cross-ownership rules apply and how this is all going to work out. I think it's a little bit late to tell Stan Kroenke once he emerges as the winning bidder, oh, sorry, you're not allowed to buy the Dodgers because they're in an NFL market, and there's, you don't own the NFL team that's in that market. I just think this is all pointing to Kroenke getting the Dodgers, Kroenke moving the Rams to L.A., and possibly building the stadium in the parking lot there. There were two prior locations that were under serious consideration, and now I think, based on what Roger Goodell said yesterday, there's three that need to be considered, and I think the handwriting's on the wall. The Rams are going to go to L.A.
No chance to play in Chavez Ravine?
No, I think that they could. I think that's the thing. They could build it there. They could build it downtown. They could build it in the city of industry. And
but what I'm saying, where the Dodgers play, you can't reshape that.
No.
Okay.
That's a baseball stadium. It would just be that building there, and then on the other side of the parking lot, there'd be a football stadium.
Okay. Let me see. One other thing with the rule changes. Now, they're talking about replay again, fine-tuning that. What should the fans be aware of at the owners' meeting, and what could come out of this?
I think the big thing is possible changes to replay. Specifically, the one that I think they need to do the most, Dan, get rid of the on-field review. Don't make the referee walk over there, put the headset on, talk to the guy upstairs, get under the booth. They waste so much time with that. Just do it up in the booth like college does and like the NFL used to do. That's a proposal that was made by the Bills. It goes to the full ownership at some point today or tomorrow, and if 24 of them agree, I think that would be the best move they could make, because they always talk about this takes too long, this takes too long. Well, one of the reasons it takes too long is you're leading the referee around on a leash, and a process that should only take a minute is taking 5 minutes.
You surprised that the Colts haven't committed to Andrew Luck after his interview yesterday on the show?
No, I'm not, just because I think that they're going to play this close to the vest. I'd be shocked if they don't take Andrew Luck. And the one question that no one's really asked yet, if they would flip it over to Robert Griffin III, would Griffin want to play for the Colts? I mean, he's saying all the right things. But I just think Washington's a better fit for Robert Griffin III.
I think he wants to be the number one pick.
Yeah, but do you really want to follow Peyton Manning?
Well,
in a market like Indianapolis, do you really want to do
following...
that? When you could go to D.C. They haven't had a franchise quarterback since Sammy Baugh.
Joe Theismann.
Like I said, they haven't had a franchise quarterback since Sammy Baugh.
But you're following Dan Orlovsky and Curtis Painter, not Peyton Manning.
Yeah, but still, the shoes that you're filling aren't theirs. You're filling the size 18 Peyton Manning shoes, and everything you do is going to be compared to Peyton Manning. I just think that the bar, even though they were 3-13 last year, the bar is lower in Washington because it's been 20 years since that team's been relevant.
Wait, Peyton Manning were size 18?
No, I'm just.
I thought you were talking about.
I picked 18 because that's his number.
Yeah, I know. Is he going to keep 18?
Oh yeah, he's kept. Yeah, we could go a whole other segment on my opinions on that. Why retire jerseys if you're going to unretire the jersey? Anytime you feel like unretiring the jersey, just don't retire jerseys. I don't like this retiring jerseys and then pulling them down for the rafters when you get a 4-time MVP on the team.
I would like to see him take number 15 in Denver.
Well, then when Tebow was drafted, they took their Brandon Marshall jerseys and they just ripped the nameplate off and put Tebow on. Now they could rip the nameplate off and put Manning on. So you can't sell jerseys if you do that.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, see you, Dan.
Mike Florio, ProFootballTalk.com.